Hey everyone, welcome back. Get ready because today we're going to be diving into one of those thought experiments that just gets you thinking.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a classic.
It is a classic.
That's right, we are talking about the trolley problem.
Ooh.
It's going to force us to ask ourselves some really tough questions about morality
Oh, yeah.
and the choices we make.
Exactly. So the trolley problem, like, what's so interesting about it is that it takes something that seems so simple on the surface,
Right.
but there's all these layers
Yeah.
of ethical complexity.
There's no easy answer.
Easy answer.
That's why it's so interesting.
Exactly.
So let's set it up for everyone listening. Okay. Imagine this.
Okay.
A runaway trolley.
Mm-hmm.
It's barreling down the tracks,
Okay.
and there are 5 people tied to the rails.
Gosh.
They can't get away.
Right.
Well, you are standing next to a lever that can switch the trolley onto a sidetrack.
Okay.
But there's one person on that sidetrack.
Oh.
So do you pull the lever?
Whoa.
Do you sacrifice 1 life to save 5?
It's a tough one.
It's a real nail biter.
It really is.
It is. And right away,
Yeah.
this throws us into this clash between 2 big ethical schools of thought.
Yeah.
Utilitarianism
Yes.
and deontology.
Absolutely.
So,
Active
okay.
Words.
Yeah, let's break those down because they sound a little intimidating.
Yeah, they are, but they're also super interesting.
Okay.
So utilitarianism essentially is saying, like, the right action
Yeah.
is the one that creates the most happiness or the most well-being
Right.
for the greatest number of people.
Okay.
So in the trolley problem,
Yeah.
a utilitarian would probably be like, pull the lever
Right.
because you're saving more lives.
Maximizing the good.
Exactly. You're maximizing happiness.
But,
However,
there's got to be another side to this.
oh, there totally is.
Yeah.
So this is where deontology comes in.
Okay.
Deontology focuses instead on moral duties and principles,
Okay.
regardless of the outcome.
So the ends don't justify the means.
Yeah, exactly. So a deontologist might look at this and say,
Yeah.
pulling the lever is wrong
Okay.
because you're violating the inherent right to life
Right.
of that one person who's on that sidetrack.
Okay.
It's like you're using them as a means to an end,
Right.
as a tool to save the others.
I see.
And that feels icky ethically.
Yeah, so even if pulling the lever saves more lives,
Yeah,
it could be seen as wrong because of how it's done.
exactly.
It's wild.
It's tricky, right?
Yeah.
And it raises all these questions about, like, can we even put a value on human life?
Yeah.
Is one life more important inherently than another?
That's deep.
It is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, can you even really measure
Right.
happiness in a way?
In a way that makes sense.
That makes this whole calculation
Yeah.
meaningful.
Yeah, we're already
Man,
getting in some deep stuff.
deep water.
But I get why this
Yeah.
thought experiment is so famous.
It's a classic.
It is,
Yeah.
because it makes us think about right and wrong.
It does.
And there's no easy answer.
And there's no escape either.
No escape.
Yeah.
Buckle up, everyone, because it's about to get even more intense.
Oh, yeah.
There's another variation.
Uh-huh.
It's called the fat man scenario.
Oh.
It's going to throw a whole new wrench into things.
It really will.
I've heard of this one.
Yeah.
I think you're on a bridge for this one.
Are on a bridge.
Tell us more, because this is where things get really
This is where it gets juicy.
juicy.
Okay, so
Okay.
same runaway trolley,
Okay.
5 people on the tracks.
Oh.
But this time, you're standing on a bridge,
Okay.
looking over the tracks.
Right.
And next to you is a very large man.
Okay.
The only way to stop the trolley is to push this man off the bridge.
Oh my gosh.
His weight will stop the trolley, but
You're directly causing someone's death
yeah, you're actively pushing.
versus allowing it to happen.
Right.
I bet this one trips people up even more.
This one really does
Yeah.
because it gets at how our brains work.
What do you mean by that?
So, like,
Mm-hmm.
it seems like we just instinctively judge actions
Yeah.
differently
Yeah.
based on, like, how directly we're involved. Like,
Yeah.
pulling a lever feels more removed
Right.
than, like, physically pushing someone,
Right.
even if the outcome is the same.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
So
It's really interesting.
our emotions get all tangled up
Yeah.
in our moral judgments.
So even when we're trying to be like logical,
Right.
objective,
Yeah.
our gut
Yeah.
really plays a role.
It plays a huge role.
And what we think is right and wrong.
Totally.
I can relate to that.
Yeah, and this tension between our, like, rational minds
Yeah.
and our emotional responses,
Right.
it gets even more pronounced
Okay.
when we start looking at real-life scenarios.
I want to hear about this.
Like in healthcare
Yeah.
or with self-driving car.
Okay, let's get into that because I am ready to see how this connects
Let's do it.
to the real world.
Yeah.
Okay, so healthcare, how does it show up there?
Yeah. So think about it like when doctors have to make these tough choices about allocating limited resources. Like,
Right.
there are only so many ICU beds.
Right.
Or ventilators. Or organs.
Yeah, organs for transplants.
Yeah.
They're always facing these dilemmas that are like echoes of the trolley problem.
Right.
Like having to decide who gets treatment and who doesn't.
Like a real life?
It is.
Yeah.
Choosing who lives and who dies.
Based on what's available.
Based on the resources, It's a huge
it's a burden
for healthcare workers.
Absolutely.
They're working in this framework where like every human life is precious.
Right.
But they have to make practical decisions.
Yeah.
About how to maximize the good that they can do.
With what they have?
With the limited resources they've got.
Right.
Do they prioritize the patients with the highest chance of survival?
Right.
Or do they look at things like, age, quality of life?
Oh, wow.
Or even like a patient's potential contribution to society?
Those are heavy considerations.
Very heavy.
Every decision has these ripple effects.
Yeah, and you can't escape the ethical implications.
Okay, so healthcare.
Yeah.
Already mind-blowing.
Right.
But self-driving cars.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned those earlier.
I did.
How does that connect?
Okay, so... we're basically handing over these life or death decisions to machines.
Wow.
And these machines are going to run into situations on the road where accidents are unavoidable.
Yeah.
So how do we program them to make ethical choices in these split-second moments?
So we have to teach ethics to computers, to a computer.
Yeah, how do you even start to do that?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
Like, should they be programmed to, like, put the safety of their passengers above all else?
Right.
Or should they minimize overall harm,
Right.
even if it means putting the passenger at risk?
Oh, wow. Right. That's a good point.
Like, imagine a scenario where the car has to swerve to avoid hitting pedestrians.
Right.
But swerving means, like, driving off a cliff.
What should it do?
Right.
What should the car do?
I can see how this gets complicated.
It gets so fast.
Yeah, and the stakes are higher.
Oh, way higher.
Because we're talking about machines.
Machines making these choices.
And those choices.
And then, like, who's responsible when these unavoidable accidents happen?
Yeah.
Is it the programmer?
Right.
Is it the manufacturer?
Right.
Is it the passenger who decided to get in that car?
These are questions we're dealing with right now.
Big time. This is crazy.
I know.
So we've gone from a thought experiment about a trolley to real-life dilemmas about healthcare.
I know, it's wild.
And self-driving cars.
It's pretty wild.
This is more relevant to my life than I ever thought it would be.
That's the power of the trolley problem.
Yeah.
It takes something abstract and it shows you how it connects to the choices we make, the technology we develop, and our values as a society.
So for all of us listening, what should we take away?
What should we take away
from this deep dive?
Yeah, well, for me, it's a reminder that, like, making ethical decisions isn't about finding easy answers or following a set of rules. It's about understanding how complex these issues are.
Right.
Acknowledging that there are competing values at play.
I see.
And being willing to really think about it.
So it's not about right or wrong.
Right.
It's about understanding the nuances.
The nuances.
Yeah. And being prepared to face these tough choices.
Exactly.
In our lives.
Yeah. And it's about recognizing that we're all making these kinds of choices all the time.
Even if they don't involve trolleys.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
I see. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But how can we apply these ideas to everyday choices?
Yeah, that's a good question.
It feels like there's a gap between thinking about trolleys and deciding what to have for lunch.
Yeah, like how do we bring it down?
Yeah, how do we...
From the theoretical to the practical.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up in these extreme examples.
Right.
But those ideas, they still apply.
Yeah, they totally do.
To those smaller everyday decisions.
So think about it. Every choice we make reflects our values in some way. Right. So, like, do you buy the cheapest product, even if it means, like, supporting unethical labor practices?
Right.
Do you tell a white lie to protect someone's feelings?
Right.
Even if it means compromising honesty.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So these might not be like trolley problem level dilemmas.
Yeah.
But there's still ethical gray areas that we're all navigating
all the
time.
Yeah. Wow. I never thought about it that way.
Right.
It's like those choose your own adventure books, but for morality.
Yeah. Every decision leads you down a different path. So like becoming more aware of those ethical implications of our choices, whether they're big or small.
Right.
It can help us live more intentionally and more in line with our values.
I like that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not about being perfect
right.
or having the right answer every time.
Right.
But it's about being mindful and engaged.
I love that. Mindful and engaged. It's like we're all moral detectives.
Oh, I like that.
Constantly trying to find the best course of action.
Exactly.
Right.
And just like detectives, we don't always have all the information.
That's true.
Right. We have to make those decisions with incomplete evidence.
Yeah.
And that's where things get really tricky.
Yeah.
But by like asking those questions, considering different points of view, you know,
being open,
being willing to learn and adapt, we can become better ethical navigators.
So to wrap up, it sounds like the trolley problem is less about finding the quote-unquote right answer.
Right.
And more about
becoming aware
of our values.
Of your values and how they affect our choices.
Every day.
Yeah.
Right? Every single day.
This has been so eye-opening.
It's a fun one to think about.
Yeah, it really is.
I feel like I have a whole new way to
think about it.
Approaching decision-making.
Right. And remember, ethics isn't this like dusty old concept in philosophy books. It's in our lives.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
Every day.
It's in every part of our lives.
It really is.
From the little things
to
the big monumental things.
Well said. Well said.
Thanks.
So, to everyone listening out there, we want to leave you with this.
Okay.
Next time you face a choice, big or small, take a second.
Okay.
To consider those ethics.
Right.
Ask yourself, what values are at play?
What principles are guiding you?
Yeah. What are the consequences?
What are the consequences?
Yeah. You might be surprised.
You might be.
By what you discover. About yourself.
And the world around you.
And the world.
Exactly.
That's been fantastic.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much
for
joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks, everyone.